All right, what's up, guys? So today I want to go over my SIG P320 Spectre Comp. So I've had this gun for almost 2 years, and with all of the hubbub about the 320 right now, I figured I would make a video on it. So I've shot this gun, I don't know, probably 5,000 rounds. I've not shot it a lot. It was just kind of a fun range toy when I bought it, and I ended up training with it a decent amount, but not as much as I would have liked. So this is so we're on the same page here. This is a P320 Spectre Comp. It is a aluminum framed gun with a comp on the front. And so let's just go ahead and go over kind of what the gun is and kind of talk about my thoughts on it. So this is a SIG custom works gun. So as far as the slide, everything feels good. I love this gun to shoot. If it didn't have the comp, I would run it in competition. And the trigger is the typical 320 spongy trigger. Other than that, I do like it. And I do have this Vortex Comp Dot or XL Defender on it. I've done a review on that dot, or my thoughts on that dot before. So kind of go over this gun a little bit. So I'll put up some montages as I'm talking of me shooting this gun. And all of the shooting before now, I was running this 115 Winchester brown box, pretty hot loaded stuff, because it looks ferocious with the comp on it. It likes the 115 with the more gas to feed the comp. So if we'll compare it here with the hot stuff, that's the hot stuff. And it stays pretty flat with that. And we have some 124 Blazer, also still pretty flat. It's just not as aggressive and fun, so I often don't shoot it with that. So I've shot this gun about 5,000 rounds, and I love the way it fits in my hand. It has a mag well, so it's super easy to load. You can just throw magazines at it and it'll go in. I'm not as fast as I would like to be with it, because this belt is a piece of junk. I've talked about it before. This is an old black Scorpion belt, and everything's loose and falling apart, and I haven't shot from it in a year or so, so I've changed some stuff with how I set my belts up so that it's set up a little bit differently than my other belts. But for a fast range toy, it's a fun gun for that. So obviously right now, SIG is doing SIG stuff, and from my construction of the gun, I don't know if it's uncommanded discharges. I don't know if it's defects in the gun. I'm just going to go over what my example is doing and talk about that. And all the controversial stuff aside, it's just plain a bad gun, and I'll kind of go over why. So there's a couple of issues with it. One of the main issues, which is pretty well known, is the barrel at the rear of the chamber is not supported enough. What I mean by that is if I load around and look in, I can see the rear of the case in there. And that just makes me a little bit nervous. Like if there's a little bit of a weak case, it's gonna blow the back up. And I think that's what's been blowing guns up, but I'm not 100% sure because I'm not a gunsmith or an expert on that by any means. All right, so my next gripe about the gun, kind of working down it, is the ejector on these guns. Let me break this apart so you can see a little bit easier what I'm talking about. So in the fire control unit, molded into the gun, the extractor is right here, and I can't insert the magazine with the slide off, but there's an ejector right there. When you slam the magazine, there's no mag stop on the mags. So that magazine goes home and hits the ejector, which is part of the fire control unit. So if that cracks or breaks, your gun is just bricked. Speaking of more issues that I don't like about the gun, I think I've done a video on this, I'm not sure, but if you have a 320, this gun is not well fitted at all, and we are clear. But if you look here, these are not fitted very well at all. There's a lot of wobble. And so the consequence of that is if you pull the trigger, certain times, whether or not, like it's completely random, the dot and the barrel consequently will just dip when you pull the trigger, and I cannot get a group out of this thing. So we're just gonna quickly, I'm gonna show a group here on the target. I'm gonna aim at the bottom at a hole that's already there, and we'll try to get a group. All right, so that was a handful of decently dead-on shots at like 5 yards. I was aiming here and I got like a 2-inch group at like 5 yards. So that's like a 5-inch group at like literally probably 5 to 7 yards. That's not acceptable for a custom handgun. And my dot did not move. The only thing that I saw move was after I pulled the trigger with that. And I can do let's do a comparison of a Glock with the same ammo. Same ammo and a Glock. This is a Glock 47 with a aftermarket trigger. All right, so I was aiming, that was a Glock, my splits were way faster. I was aiming here, and I got 3 there, and I pulled 1. That is a way more inherently inaccurate gun, was the 320, which you could probably get an aftermarket barrel and fix that, but you shouldn't have to for a $1,200, $1,300 gun, period. It should just work. So that's my couple biggest gripes with it, is durability and accuracy. For those 2 things alone, I don't think it's a gun worth buying, let alone the chance that it has to go off randomly in the holster and the chance it has of just plain grenading. I don't like any of that. So I probably will end up keeping it still because it was my first gun that I bought at a gun store after I turned 21, which is a very nice gun to do that. But I had trash guns before that, so I thought I'd buy a nice gun, but it turns out that was a terrible idea. So I'll keep it. I might buy a chassis for it, like some of the new chassis that just came out. Those are pretty cool. I might buy a chassis for it, but maybe buy a nice aftermarket upper for it. That way I can shoot in production or something, or limited. I might do that. We'll see. But I need to do some safety upgrades to the gun before I shoot it a whole lot more. One of the biggest things being an aftermarket barrel. I do like reloading metal magazines, but I just haven't practiced with this gun or belt setup in a while. So I'm slow with it. But it is a fun gun to shoot. I still do occasionally pull it out and shoot it, but I don't have a reason to shoot it, so I don't very often. And when I do not keep it loaded while it's in my holster unless I absolutely have to. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Do the YouTube stuff. I don't really care. If you like the video, that's what the button's for. If you don't, that's what the other button's for. Go shoot, even if you have a terrible gun, because I could run my trash Taurus that I got on my 18th birthday better than I could this gun for a long time, and I probably still can, because it's not as trash of a gun as a 320. All right, see you guys. Stay safe. Don't let a 320 grenade on you.